How on earth are you going to argue that Benjamin Netanyahu has been trying to give Palestinians a state?
Okay, but of course, the reality in Israel presently is somewhat different, and people do live under different systems of justice. They live under different geographic powers, and as a result, there has been conflict that the whole world is well aware of. Presently, Israel does see its very existence at stake. The Palestinians believe the same, and the two sides are very much pitted one against the other. I hope I'm not saying anything here controversial. This seems to me to be obvious to any listener. Um, and the problem that I'd like you to expound on is the reality that now or what happens stemming from that very reality. Um, you know, what I've seen over the past 20 years is the Jewish side constantly saying we do not have peace partners on the other side, therefore we have to take our own actions. It's a and in doing that, I don't think Jews properly, maybe they have, but a lot of us haven't really thought through that, because what that means is that our moral obligations are entirely contingent upon whether or not the Palestinians can prove themselves as peace partners. Do you think tying Jewish ethics to the behavior of our adversaries has hollowed out our own moral core? Maybe I can ask an easier
Sure.
question. You can ask
Right.
either of the two. Is there a danger in defining Jewish legitimacy only through the existential threats and the actions of those who wish us harm?
Yes. I mean, I think that Jews and anybody else has the right to judge Palestinian behavior. And there are things that I think are moral, that one can argue were strategic mistakes. And also, I think one can argue are war crimes and morally reprehensible that various different Palestinian groups have done at various points. So I think that's totally legitimate. I think the heart of but I think there are some very basic problems with the idea that Israel wanted to give the Palestinians a sovereign state, but the Palestinians just wouldn't accept one for whatever reasons, right? I mean, one of the problems with this is that it simply cannot account for the growth in settlements, right? I mean, whatever you want to blame Yasser Arafat, Mahmoud Abbas, Hamas for, they are not responsible for the inexorable growth of settlements in the West Bank, which by any honest, any honest appraisal makes the idea of a contiguous Palestinian state much, much harder. And it's not just that Israel allows Israeli Jews to move into the West Bank. Israel, in many ways, subsidizes Israeli Jews to move into the West Bank by making in housing, in industry, in agriculture, in a whole series of ways, it's cheaper to live in the West Bank. You can't blame the Palestinians for that, right? The second thing is that Israel has since Netanyahu came back to power in 2009, has basically had an uninterrupted period now of 15 years or so, led by governments that don't support the idea of a Palestinian state. So, I mean, we can get into what happened between Barak and Arafat and what happened between Olmert and Abbas. I think that the common mainstream Jewish understanding of those negotiations is in significant ways flawed. But even if it weren't flawed, how on earth are you going to argue that Benjamin Netanyahu has been trying to give Palestinians a state, right? The man is basically screams as loud as he can that he opposes the idea of a Palestinian state.